Hey, it's James, Father's Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got custody. One thing I wish I would have done from the beginning of my case was, my case started in 2001. People using PDFs and scanning documents wasn't as common, but I wish I would have organized my files really well so I could be on top of it better. When I first went to court, I had a big filing cabinet and one of those, long drawer metal filing cabinets with drawers that are like 4 feet long and 4 drawers high. And so every time we went to court, I put all the stuff in a manila envelope. But especially nowadays, if you have a file like in Washington State, when you go online, where Seattle is, you can get internet access to your file. A lot of places across the country, you could do the same. Some of the places out in the sticks, you can't. But in Washington, you can go on the file online, and then you can buy any document. In Tacoma, Washington, that's Seattle, King County. In Tacoma, Washington, you could pay a one-time fee of like $25 and have full access to your file, download stuff at any time. And the only cost is when you file for a court hearing, you have to give a judge an extra working copy that have to print out. You pay a fee for that. But that's probably, I think that's Tacoma, Washington, which is the second biggest town in Washington. They probably have the best filing system that I've seen across the country because of the full access, being able to download stuff, monitor stuff, e-file, e-serve each other within that system. Like I said, a lot of places across the country have that. So since you have an online e-filing system and you could see your docket in most states, in Washington, in that King County, they have a sub number or an index number to every item. So at the beginning of your file, let's say this is the screen. It will say number 1, petition for dissolution, and then it might have some little notes on the side or some description. Number 2, proposed parenting plan. Number 2 would be a summons. Number 3, proposed parenting plan. Number 4, proposed child support worksheets. Number 5, and then I'll have the date over here. So what I wish I would have done was scan documents, or if you're in a situation where you're getting served, you're getting e-served documents, then I would be saving stuff in a file, and I'll show what I would do down here. And because my documents, I have like 1,100 documents in my file, you'll never get to 5 digits, but you may get to 1,000, maybe not. But I would have like 4 digits, like the sub number 0001, and then have a dash, and then the date, and then the name of the file. Right now, I save everything as a date, for just about everything I do. And if I'm working on somebody's case and they share documents with me, I'll save stuff with the date in front, just so everything's in chronological order. And when I do a date, because I've had some people I've worked with for 5, 10, 15 years, I put the year first, and then the month, and then the day. Think about it. If I just put, like it's April now, if I just put 04.01.2025, and then we carry over to the next year, 2 years out, it'll bunch all the Januaries and all the Februarys and all the Marches and all the Aprils from the past 3 years. You don't want that. You want everything in chronological order. So everything will be the year 2025, and then later, let's say 2024, your case started. All the 2024s, 1 through 12 would be there, the months. 2025s, 1 through 12. If I got 2024, if I got 01/01/2024, I got 01/05/2025, those are getting bunched together, and it's not each year going through chronologically. So actually I was at a law firm, and I came up with that idea for how we would, I'd seen another attorney do it. I did it a little different than them, and I brought it up at a law firm that I worked at. And they're like, why do you put the year first? And I'm like, you got a law degree, you can't do the math on this? Some of these lawyers are just dumb. But I would have all my court documents that are in the file in the same order, and if there's an index number or sub number, I'm going to put that first. So if I go to court and have a court hearing, and Let's say the mother says something that totally contradicts a statement like a few months ago. I'll say, Your Honor, if you look at, and I'll print out my index, or if I go to court with a laptop, I got my whole file in there. I got it, by that index number or whatever. And, what I'll do if something comes up, I'll ask the court, hey, will you take judicial notice of sub number 34? In this declaration, the mother said something, and I'm looking at it right now. Maybe you have it in a laptop right there. Maybe you're doing a Zoom hearing. You're at home. You have access to all this stuff. You can find, by looking at a printout of just the docket and the list of documents, you can man, I remember back in March of last year, it's okay, there's a declaration, sub number 47, whatever number it is. If you look at sub number 47 while you're talking, you could pull it up because you got it in chronological order. It's boom, like that. A lot of people just have everything in total chaos, especially early on in that case. I'm like, well, I'm talking to somebody, what's the mother's worst allegations? Oh, I don't know. She said, I watch TV too much with the kids and I don't play outside with them. And then 20 minutes in the conversation, oh yeah, she accused me of domestic violence. I'm like, why don't you know your case enough to know what's the worst allegation? This is what I was talking about in a video. I think it got banned on TikTok. I was talking in a video about, when I talk to people a lot of times, you don't hear or listen very well. A lot of people don't listen very well. I'll ask somebody, like I was talking to a guy today, he texted me, he said, hey, they denied me in court today. Or I got denied in court today, they said this and they said that. Well, who's they? Well, they were saying blah, 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 blah. And I said, no, dude, who is they? Is that a clerk at the courthouse or something? He said, well, they were saying this and that, blah, blah, blah. He was so emotional that he couldn't even listen to what I'm saying. And he's taking up my time, texting me and stuff. And we're not in a paid consult. And people love to do that. They think because they had a consult with me, they could text me for, over 40 different times over the course of 3 hours. If you keep doing that to me, I'm just going to delete your text and ignore you. You have to schedule an appointment with me to get access to me. You can't just start texting your dentist out of the blue or your doctor. You especially can't do it with your lawyer. If they're busy, they'll get back to you and they're not on call for just you. But anyway, I had to tell him 4 times. I said, dude, I'm asking you, who is they? Who told you this? And it turned out a clerk at the courthouse was giving him bad legal advice and telling him that he can't access the court. And he walked away because he didn't know his rights, because he kind of half-assed stuff. And he, I've been working with him off and on, but with different gaps. And he's not the only one. It's just that triggered this thought. Because a lot of guys don't listen. They don't want to learn everything that they need to know. They want to learn one little point here, one little point there, but not understand your constitutional rights, the law, the obligation of the courts. Because this guy was basically not allowed to even file stuff and present it to the judge because the clerk made a judicial decision. You don't have a case for that. You need to go to mediation first, and you need to jump through these hoops. That clerk was way out of line, but because the guy didn't understand legal principles, he's like, well, I have to see the judge. My kid is suffering. They're like, no, but I have to see the judge. I have a right to see the judge. And that's all he knew. He didn't know his constitutional rights. He didn't know the rules on that particular type of motion. Or if he would have done some of the stuff that I've told him before, or some of the stuff that is out there that I told him to study. There's a lot of guys, they'll do just enough to get by for this hearing or this day. If you do just enough to pass a test in school, when it comes to the final exam, you're not going to know all this stuff. Because you need to learn it to absorb it. Like if you're learning about how to be a mechanic and you learn just enough to get by on the test to memorize for a moment what certain parts of an engine are, and then at the end, last test, you have to do a hands-on tune-up or something like that. You're not going to understand all that because you did just enough to mentally assent to whatever it was just for a moment. Anyway, back to the organization of the file. The more organized your file is, the more you can pull that stuff out. And then you might want to have, let's say you have a folder with your docket and everything in it. And then you might have a folder of all correspondence. You print out letters or get letters in the mail and scan them. And now you have the correspondence. And then you have some side evidence that you're building or whatever. The more organized you are along the way in your case, the easier it's going to be when you get ready for trial and have to pile all this stuff together and dig it up and keep it organized, and there's multiple other reasons to have it organized.